Hi, Web Design 1 class. This is Mrs. Miskin, and this short video today is going to cover the CSS special effects properties that we have just learned about. We're going to put a couple of them into practice on our Velvet Scoop project. One of them I do want you to have, the other one is optional, but I'm going to show you how to apply it. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to look at the code for our let's see, for the H1. So I would like to see on the H1 that you're using the text shadow. So here's the code for my H1. Let me just show you on the preview why this would be important. So the H1 is on the menu and on the About and Contact page. So see how this kind of blends in a little bit? The colors, there's not a lot of contrast here, not high contrast. So it's not hard to read, but it could be just a little bit more clear and set apart. So the way that I'm going to do that is using a text shadow. And we'll put that on the H1, and then it'll apply for both. So here I'm going to put text shadow. There are 4 different values that we can add here. So the first 2 are the X and the Y offset. So basically, how far away from the letters do you want that to go? I don't want it to be super far. So I'm just going to put 5px for both the X and the Y. The next value is the amount of space you want the shadow to take up. I know that this is a really big text. It's got font size of 60. I'm going to put my offset. Sorry, it's not offset. I think it's the blur. So how wide you want that to be. I'm going to make that 10px. And then I don't want it to be black because I don't want it to be really harsh. I'm going to soften it a little bit and use the color gray. So let's take a look at that. And then I'm going to go back to the preview. And you can see here it is before. And then there it is after. So very, very subtle. And maybe I don't want the gray. Maybe I do want it to be black. And see, but now you can kind of see there is just a little subtle outline around that just like pops it up a little bit more. That's going to be on the menu page also. Same thing, so just a little bit different. Let me just go back and change it. I'm going to make an adjustment so that it's black, and then you can kind of see the difference on that. And you can decide what works best for your color scheme and for what you're doing. So if I reload that, I think I actually might like the black a little bit better on this one. So that just was a little sharper. Now if I go to the About and Contact, again, just a little bit sharper. So I think I'm going to leave it on black. But just again, a really, really subtle change. And that brings it up. And then it does look more like a graphic instead of text on a picture. So it kind of just gives it that extra little bit of polish. Okay, the other thing that I'm just going to show you, but you don't have to have, is the border radius. That could apply to anything that has a background color or a background of any sort, or even a border. You can play around with this. We don't have anything with a border that goes all the way around. So what I'm going to do is apply it to this section right here so you can see it. And then I can also put it on the images on our menu page. So give me just a second here and let's go to our, let's see, it's the menu banner. Yep, there we go. And what I'm going to do is just say border radius. And let's make this one 20px. That's kind of a big picture. And what that'll do is round the corners on that section. Again, this is optional. If you don't like the way this looks, just take it off. I'm just showing you how to apply it because you might want to use this on your final project. So now if I come here and I'm going to reload. Oh, that was on the menu page. Sorry, because these are different. So menu. Okay, there we go. So look at that. Just really, really subtle. Again, that just adds to making it look like it's more of a graphic and not just like slapped on the page. Okay, so that is something that you could do if you are interested. One other thing that you could add it to are these pictures here so that they don't just look so square. So let me just show you on that one what that's going to look like. And let's see, that's our menu 3-column image. So I do need to add a selector for that. And spell it right. And then image. And I can say border radius 10px. I don't want that to be so distinct. So let's take a look at that again. And from the square, and then it adjusted for me. So very, very subtle. I could make that bigger. I could make that number really, really big, actually. If I wanted that to be super noticeable, I could make that like 60. Let me just show you what that looks like. Okay. All right. So very, very easy one line of code to change it so that it actually has more of a graphical element to it instead of just looking like a picture. So if you like it, keep it. If not, you can certainly delete that line. Or you can make it more. You can make it, if you change the border radius to a high enough number, it could just look like a circle. In fact, I'm going to do that really quick and see if I'm going to do 100. That might not be enough, but you kind of see where I'm going with that. Okay, so not quite, but maybe somewhere in the 125 to 150, and you can make that look like a total circle without having to do any kind of photo editing. So that's a really cool effect that you could add. You don't have to, but I would like you to have the text shadow on the H1 for both the menu and the about and contact pages. Just adjust it on the H1, and then that should be good. The next step will be to finalize everything. Just double check padding, margins, your spacing, tweak just your last finer points here, and then be ready to submit.